Hello, welcome back to Firesense Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on with Suzerain. The last time out, we met with the Reform Wing, went to Peter's party, and decided on our immigration policies. So, let's pick it up where we left off here with this newspaper report. Alright, from Swordland today. Financial aid was the answer to recession. Recently, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that Swordland will be taking financial aid from United Cantana. At times, sacrifices need to be made for the greater good. This may appear as an issue at first, but a great leader knows better. It comes as no surprise President Rain has decided to make a small sacrifice in return for helping Swordland achieve prosperity once again. This has been only a logical outcome, and there is nothing else left for us to do but to applaud President Rain for his success in making Swordland a better place. Cool. Alright, from Whole Sword we have a report from the Ministry of Interior. The Ministry of Interior reports that the restructuring of the ministry has been completed with success after the increase of its budget. According to the report, some portion of the budget was transferred specifically to local police forces that are fighting against organized crime in northern Swordland, which have already made successful gains in the war against crime. The ministry reports that the two major business rings of the two crime families, Coronelli and Skinner, have been shut down, and several high-ranking members have been arrested. With the implementation of the Witness Protection Program, the Swords Police reports that they are confident in eliminating the said crime families in the short future. Very nice. Alright, so let's head over here to Benfi for the Benfi Festival. Our motorcade slowly made its way towards the magnificent Benfi High Arts Center. Night was falling and the festival was about to begin. I flipped through the brochure that had been given to us at the hotel. On the front page, there was the face of Kurt Lest, Mayor of Anarcha. He was a Benfi native who had a long-standing relationship with the city's current mayor, and had been personally invited to make tonight's opening speech. The Benfi Festival is one of the biggest events of the year. It originally marked the start of an annual religious pilgrimage, a weeks-long journey still undertaken by devout tourists. But today is better known as a cultural celebration that drew thousands of revelers to the city. There are film screenings, concerts, theater, dance performances, art exhibitions, and celebrity-studded night galas. The opening ceremonies were broadcast on TV and watched by millions. As the car slowed, a coterie of reporters and security guards rushed to meet us. I drew my attention to Monica. Since I refused to let her make the opening speech, her attitude toward me had changed. Now she only spoke to me if I asked her a question, or if there was something important concerning the children. Will you ever forgive me? I told you my reasons. I know, and I understand. It's just going to take me some time. She clearly did not want to pursue this topic any further. As soon as Serge opened the door, we were enveloped by the roar of the crowd. The next few minutes were a blur of handshakes, photos, and reporters' questions. The onlookers cheered as we walked the red carpet to the newly built art center. We followed the guards through the cavernous white halls until we came to a set of arched doors leading to the auditorium. We waited outside as security did a quick sweep of the area, then headed in. I had been asked to make a quick set of remarks introducing Kurt Lest. I beckoned Monica to join me on the podium. I'm going to find my seat. Monica brushed past me, took her seat in the front row, and crossed her arms. I walked alone to the podium. I spoke for just a minute, reading a paragraph my speechwriter churned out about the importance of the festival and Benfi de Sword. I concluded by inviting Kurt Lest, the mayor of Anarcha, to the podium. I stepped down and joined Monica in the front row. Her arms were still folded. First day of the Benfi Festival. He paused for a moment to let the crowd cheer, and his eyes briefly met mine. I nodded. This is not for the people of Benfi, indeed for the people of Swordland. Put aside the differences, come together in celebration. Yet as we unite for the festivities, we must remember the real reason we're gathered here. The crowd fell silent. People were giving their full attention to what he had to say. This festival is founded around the principles of our cherished religion nerdy, yet over the years it has been severed from its sacred roots and become something else, something more perverse. An excuse for public drunkenness, grotesque displays of the flesh, an occasion for young women to parade their bodies and engage in lascivious behavior. As he went on, I could see Monica become increasingly agitated. What in the hell is he talking about? Lascivious behavior? What century does he think we live in? I don't know. Just let it be. Monica turned back to watching the speech, a frown on her face. Perversion hidden under the guise of art is not befitting the beautiful city of... The crowd is becoming restless. Many of the younger attendees were murmuring disagreement, while a few of the older ones were nodding vigorously. As I said, perversion hidden under the guise of art is not to be... Yeah. All fell silent. Monica rose and continued. Mr. Lest, it's not young women who disgrace this fine festival, but you. You and your backwards puritanical attitudes which have been holding back this country for far too long. Monica, sit down. You're making a fool of yourself. No, I will not sit down this time. Monica turned to face the audience, speaking loud enough to be heard without a microphone. Women of Swordsland, we must not let people like Mr. Lest use religion as justification to demean and oppress us. Our time has come. Shocked gasps ran through the crowd. A few people rose and applauded. Kurt and Les waited to speak. I think Mrs. Rain is forgetting her place. What do you think my place is, Mr. Les? The kitchen? This festival is not about your retrograde traditions. We're living in modern times now. It's 1954. It isn't your place to decide how the people of Benfi, especially the women, should be celebrating their own festival. Alright, it feels wrong to be arguing with her on this, but Guide says we have to side with Kurt and Les. So, we're just going to keep it up. Monica, that's enough. What do you mean enough? I've barely even started. I looked at the podium to see Kurt and Les' piercing gaze on me. There'd surely be a price to pay for this. Mr. President, could you please control your wife before she embarrasses herself any further? Monica, we've been over this. Now is not the time. Sit down, please. The crowd was in uproar. I had to lean over to catch Monica's next words. I'm so sorry, Anton. Next time I'll stay in the kitchen. He sat back down, seething. Curtin's voice filled the hall. Benfi has always been a beacon of culture, tradition, and religion. Many battles have been fought over this precious city. Army after army has tried to claim it for their own, but we fought back and won each time. We stand here thanks to strong men who were able to protect their families, their lands, and the way of living. And every day I praise God that we have succeeded so far. Scattered applause broke out for some of the older members of the audience. I leaned over to Monica. He sounds more like a priest than a politician. Monica said nothing, her gaze fixed forward. Yet the traditions that form the very fabric of our society are being tested, even as I speak. He looked pointedly at Monica. We must stay true to our values so that Swordsland can prevail, so that Benfi can prevail. With these at the forefront, I am convinced that Swordsland will continue to be the greatest nation in the world. I invite every single one of you to celebrate our roots and our traditions at this holy Benfi Festival. I hereby declare the festival open. Praise God, praise Swordsland, praise Benfi. More of Core. Vector and Sister. Most of the people in the hall finished the decades-old saying, including me. Monica's lips moved, but she didn't say the words out loud. He exited the stage as the band struck up the official festival anthem. I spent the rest of the evening alternately watching the festivities and conversing with local politicians. By the time we got back to the hotel, I was exhausted. But thanks to the festivities still raging outside and the sound of Monica tossing and turning beside me, I couldn't sleep at all. Awesome. Alright. That was fun. Yeah, alright. We got 2 reports over here from Estor. Protests and looting. Protests and occasional looting continues in the region of Nargis. The police reports that the violence has been minimized, and the situation is mostly under control outside the big cities. Estor police force reported that several militants have been hiding among the protesters and are being watched closely. And gang violence reduced. The Ministry of Interior has reported that after the police raid on the Skinner and Coronelli cartel supply chains, their activities have been reduced in the region. Those operations were only possible as a result of the new resources we received from this administration. It has allowed the local police force to launch inside investigations, purging corrupted officials, getting information about criminal networks, said the Ministry of Interior. Nice. Alright. A report from Suzerain on refugees. Reports from our border in the Vesic city of Vernon show that there are about 1,000 people running away from Vesic military forces towards the Swordfish border. Nice. Alright, and newspaper from Geopolitico. Valen deploying special forces to Vernon. Roklovitz Valen. President Smolik has announced that the city of Vernon has been put under curfew, along with 7 other towns in the northeast of the country. The Vesic army has deployed special trained military forces to the... Military forces to combat the militant organization known as the British Freedom Front. I assume it's supposed to be in the region, but whatever. Valen has increased its efforts in fighting terrorism, with aerial campaigns and ground operations targeting BFF militants in their hidden bases. This operation will surely have consequences for the region, particularly for the neighboring countries of Lesbia, Rumburg, and particularly Sordon, which has a large population of British people living inside its borders. Interesting. Well, we'll be dealing with Valen soon enough, I would imagine. So, let's head home in the meantime. Felt like eternity since the Benfi Festival. Had it really only been less than 24 hours? I was at home now, drinking an afternoon coffee on my balcony. A stack of newspapers lay by my side. I picked them up one by one, reading and rereading the articles about the festival. Some of the newspapers were merciless against Monica for interrupting Curtin during his speech. A few even called for her to be barred from political matters. Others expressed their support. In any event, I was relieved that the incident hadn't reflected too badly on me. I was putting the last newspaper down as Monica joined me on the balcony. So, you've seen the news? Monica, I know. We can talk about this. What is there to talk about? I'm a disgrace with no support from my husband. It's just right there. Darling, believe me, my hands are tied. Anton, how could you? First you denied me the opportunity to speak at the festival, and you looked down and so less make a mockery of me and my cause. She grabbed the top newspaper from the stack and started reading it out loud. With a shameful outburst of honor Mayor Curtin Less, First Lady Monica Rain once again proved that politics is an area best left to gentlemen. The President providing no support, her challenger Less was quickly defeated. The President provided no support. You can't even stand Less, and you took a side while making me look like a fool. She started ripping the newspaper to shreds. After all these years by your side, playing the doting wife, you know, my mother was right about you. I am so sorry. I understand if you never forgive me. Just tell me why. Couldn't you have said something? I didn't want to lose Curtin's support. I see. That's where your priorities lie. There was a brief silence. There is another chance, you know, for you to show your real support. Perhaps the festival wasn't the proper forum to air my views on women's rights, but I still need to do this, Anton. I want to officially adopt this cause as First Lady, to actually get involved in politics, not just give impromptu speeches. I can even help your education minister with those reforms she's working on. I know this isn't an urgent issue for you, but it's vital to me. Alright. See, all the guide says is to just side with her, or to side with the mayor, and then promise to go forward with her campaign. So we'll just work with her. Why not? Hopefully that's the right option. Of course, my love. I'm looking forward to working closer together. Oh, Anton, this means so much to me. Monica hugged me tightly, and I felt some of the past day's tension melt away. Thank you. Noise came from the balcony door. We both turned our heads to see Deanna standing there. I'm hungry. Let's go to the kitchen, baby. We'll make Papa the best snack ever. Yeah. They left the balcony and returned half an hour later with a large cookie. Deanna had written my name in icing on it. As I sipped my chocolate and nibbled the cookie, I thought that I had made the right choice. Things were going to get harder, but at least my life at home was somewhat peaceful. Nice. Alright. Take a look at these reports here. Alright, from Lockhaven, Economic Report. The Ministry of Statistics, along with the Ministry of Economy and the Central Bank, have delivered a preliminary economic status report detailing that the recession is deepening and the financial system is heading towards potential collapse if we don't take serious action. Minister Hull said the situation was dangerous. I mean, obviously, our economy is still in the red up here. But that's an exclamation point, so we don't want to do that just yet. Alright. United Canton access to Conrad Base. Preparations began in Conrad Naval Base to expand the port and restructure the security of the naval base in order to welcome United Canton ships in the short future. Canton security and logistics professionals have already been welcomed to the base to work with Swordfish officials. Alright, and the newspaper from the Lockhaven Times. First Lady disgraced, no support from her husband. That's probably what we just read, but it's okay. Benfi Festival is now in full motion, and the festival goers are enjoying the many attractions set up. However, this year's Benfi Festival started eventfully. In the middle of Curtin Lest's opening speech, First Lady stood up and interrupted it. With a truly shameful act of display, First Lady Monica Rain proved her incapability handling political matters during the opening speech of the Benfi Festival. Rightfully contested by Curtin Lest, Mayor of Anarcha, she powerlessly looked for help from President Rain, yet received no support from her husband. This move has created questions in people's heads about the relationship between the President and the First Lady. Nice. Okay, so we've got Pole Sword and Suzerain. I should start Pole Sword here. What we got? Discussion of the formation of a new police force. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Alright. Karl Greiser arrived for a meeting to discuss the new police force. After Olivia informed us of his arrival, Lucien opened the door and let him in. Hello, Mr. President. Mr. Gallard, what a sunny day, isn't it? The weather outside is beautiful indeed. Clear sky and sunshine made the scenery look lively. I could even hear the sounds of birds chirping from the palace garden. Good to see you, Karl. How have you been? Yeah, very good. Thanks to the increased budget at the interior, we've been combating a lot of the issues that plagued us. My opposition bears more responsibility now. But more importantly, the security situation in the country is much more stable, allowing people to return to normal life. Please, have a seat. We don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I'm used to being uncomfortable. He took a seat and corrected his posture. We've been informed of the establishment of the Secret State Police under the Ministry of Interior. Correct. Minister Graff's given me the full authority to lead the new force in order to combat subversives and other threats to the state from the inside. The agents we've recruited are the most loyal and experienced. There are too many enemies inside Sordland. They need to be found and imprisoned. Our established forces have begun gathering intelligence on suspected enemies of the state. I want to make it absolutely clear. My belief in you as the leader is unquestionable. Consider me your inside man. Minister Groff, though not as inspiring as you are, has also shown great capability. But the more I work with her, the more I'm convinced that she herself might pose a threat to you. I mean, we already know that she is definitely a threat, but let's go with this one. The only thing that matters is that you only take orders from me, not anyone else. That won't change, sir. I was trying to give you some inside information from the interior. Karl leaned closer and lowered his voice ever so slightly. The initial analysis by our agents has uncovered some troubling facts. There are elements within our state that have ulterior motives. That should be a given. That's basically every country. But elaborate, please. May I speak frankly, sir? It's exactly what I want you to do. What do you think we're paying you for? There are some very powerful deep state forces inside the administration. Our investigations have just begun, but certain links we have discovered are troubling. Mr. Hawker has financial and other ties to certain figures. He's a dangerous man. Currently, we're collecting evidence of his middleman to discover a real link that would lead to further suspects. We've always suspected they were dangerously close, but the real question here is who in the government cabinet is on their side. Let's see, I mean, we're investigating the opposition here, which would be what this is, right? Oh, not quite to that point yet. Okay, never mind. Just ignore me reading the guide here. We need to find out who has ulterior motives and root them out of the administration. I couldn't agree more. Anyone who attacks the state and creates parallel organizations is a threat to sort. The most important subject here is the old guard establishment. They pose a direct threat to us. Once enough intelligence is gathered, we may be able to arrest them extrajudicially. Parker, Heron, the rest of the old guard, and the Supreme Court will be able to be prosecuted with the new constitution. Besides that, there are other elements we're aware of. The old guard seem to have some people on the inside as well. We've received some unconfirmed reports that Mr. Tusk have made deals with the enemies of the state. And it is suspected they are evading taxes through bribery and exploiting gray areas in our laws. Our investigators Nestor and Arbel have also found some suspicious financial activity from some of their corporations. If tax returns would be made public, it would help us track irregularities in the filings. Tusk is an issue, but he shouldn't be a primary target. There are bigger fish to fry. Very well, sir. If he isn't a big concern for you, we can talk about other figures. Marcel Cronti and HOS also have strong presence in the media and many other industries. There are some patterns we observed that are unusual. It really seems like they have powerful influence in the majority of the so-called independent news organizations. They might not be so independent after all. Mr. Cronti has been very supportive of my administration. He's a close friend. He might not be innocent, sir, but if you think he is an issue, then we can move on. Therefore, we need to pick a faction to focus on. We can't investigate everyone within the remainder of the term and come up with a thorough, compelling case. The most logical step would be to use SSP to pressure either the oligarchs or the old guard. Where should we concentrate our efforts? Ooh, and I've got an achievement for whatever that means. Alright, there we go. Yes, the guide says to focus on the opposition party. Oligarchs and old guard will either be arrested or on our side if we do this properly. So, we're going to focus investigation on the opposition parties. Yes, sir. We'll focus our research and investigation on the PFJP and the NFP. Well, that's been decided. That should conclude the meeting. Thank you for your time, Karl. It's a privilege to work with you, President Rain. Good day. Karl and Lucian left the room. Nice. Alright, so the journal should just be saying that we launched an investigation against the reformists. Coolio. Alright, now let's head to Suzerain. With a budget allocation of Swordfish armed forces. Fancy. Alright, to determine the current situation in the military and spending policy, we held a meeting in the White Room. Peter, Vulcan, and Iosef were seated. General Vulcan, Mr. Lancia, what's the briefing? Very well, Mr. President. We have prepared a briefing to convey further details about the current situation of our military. First off, we received an updated communication from the United Qatar Military Command. Despite my very vocal disagreement with the plan, the warships are approaching the Qatar naval bases in Spain. Concerning warships and comrades, I thought I would never see the day. We are keeping them under close surveillance. A single wrong move and we will keep you updated. Good. Make sure to keep an eye on them. Of course, Mr. President. Now, let's move on to our military. Which branch would you like to know about? What's the situation of our army? According to the latest reports from Camp Stronger, currently we field 6 armies totaling up to approximately 400,000 active troops, which is a good amount. The real issue we're having is quality, not quantity. What's the current equipment status? Our army is quite outdated by today's military standards. Most of our equipment is 2 decades old. To make up for our lack of modern military equipment, we resort to a large number of soldiers, which is not really a long-term solution. I have been trying hard to reduce the negative effects of this problem. We don't need a modernization program. Standardized purchase of lacking equipment do. We need more funding towards expanding the military size. Otherwise, our army will be seen as weak. Where exactly is our army deployed right now? The First Army is stationed at the Lesbian Valen borders, to protect the way into central regions of Sultan. Second Army, our largest force, has been situated by the Rumbek. Second Army has a large mounted commando force, and it is the most adequately equipped army to face Rumbek. The Third Army is near the Agnolian border and the coastal areas facing Falkland. Due to our bitter past, our coastal defense force is always on alert. The decimation of our fleet is still not forgotten. Well, how do we compare to other armies? Rumbek fields about 6 armies, mounting to 1 million soldiers. Lesbia fields 5 armies, which amount to 800,000 soldiers. Falkland field 1 army of about 140,000. Valenfield army amounting to 100,000 soldiers, and Agnalia fields 2 armies, a total of 200,000. The sheer size of Rumbek's armies, because of their forced conscription laws, due to the massive gold reserves they're able to afford. On the other hand, the Lesbian army is most advanced, followed by the Voxani army. Both these countries put lots of money in modernizing the military. Cool. Alright, well, I'm curious about another branch. Very well. Let's talk about the Navy. Our Navy currently constitutes 59 ships, total of 60,000 soldiers, sailors, and support staff. As you know, these ships are commanded from a main naval base in Conrad, where our flagship as an arena is docked. How does our Navy compare to others? Our Navy is dwarfed by the size of the Alexandrian Navy, which has 194 ships, and the Agnolian Navy has 81 ships. We almost passed the Lesbian channels of our Navy as they have less than 30 ships. As you see, the situation is dire, but the solution is not just more ships. To make a truly better Navy, we need to equip our ships with modern radar and sonar systems. More outdated ships wouldn't mean much. Alright, where does our Navy currently patrol? We're patrolling the Marking Sea, the Grey Strait, and the Antipodean Sea. Our Navy protects all our coastal regions, however, to make sure we are not thinning out our defense. We prioritize certain regions of others, like Greater Warsaw. We often patrol the routes that are close to the shipping lanes, especially Marking Sea and Grey Strait. The amount of cargo that goes through that area is eye-opening. Another thing to note is after the takeover of Hellion, where our Navy has led incursion operations protecting oil, we also take part in some joint Navy drills as well. Alright, well, let's hear about other branches. Which one? It's the Air Force. It's the only one we have left. Our Air Force currently has 410 planes in the interior, out of which only 140 are jet. They're not in great condition. 30,000 pilots and support staff work in the Air Force and are commanded from the Mark Air Force Base in LA. What are our operational capabilities? Our planes can bomb targets within 400-kilometer radius of the airfield. They have medium-range, semi-effective nighttime bombing capabilities. That's not very impressive. At any time, we can field 7 air wings, composing a total of 130 aircraft that can operate in combat duty. That is enough to subdue most targets. In terms of our bombing capability, we have an average of 100 meters of precision. This is not great, but is still within the effective radius of the bombs. How experienced are our pilots? Our pilots have average experience. They have a total of 450 hours flight time with the craft before qualifying. This gives them more than enough time to get used to it. This is low compared to the 1,000 to 1,500 hours in other countries like Akazi, Nagantana, Lesbia, and even Falkland. Normally the hours per pilot should be higher, but due to the lack of funding we can't increase the training times. Fuel costs are rather high. How does our Air Force work together with other military branches? The Air Force is trained as an independent tactical support branch, which means it assists other branches but doesn't collaborate.
Does cause some issues with friendly fire, but it's close to air support opportunities.
There are ways to improve collaboration with joint operation rooms. Something to think about, surely. I'd like to know about the other branches.
Any specific one you want to know about?
No, because that's all there is. Let's move on.
Let's.
He cleared his throat.
The Minister of Defense is content with the additional funds.
Hopefully the allocated money helps our defense needs. Let's see. Let's go with that one. The increase in the military budgets for national security, which is threatened by Rumberg and other nations.
Rightfully so.
We are surrounded by jackals, as our intelligence and general staff indicates.
Our enemies are both outside and inside the country. We'll do all that is necessary to protect this soil.
Should we move on to the spending choice? Yeah, sure. Want to hear the discussions? Right. The increase in the military budget leaves us with big questions about how to utilize it.
There's a lot of debate in the ministry, which resulted in two factions of votes. The first faction is in favor of enlarging the armed forces by enlisting more men. The second faction is in favor of purchasing better military equipment instead.
Alright, what's the argument for increasing the size?
Some of our neighbors have large populations and thus a large armed force. Using funds to boost their size would minimize their advantage.
Theoretically, numbers alone don't determine the strength.
Let's see more soldiers to the armed forces. It could also minimize the unemployment issue. Peter looked at Iosef. I'm not so convinced on this. What other reasons are there?
Me neither. Reports show that we lack equipment not meant for military efficiency.
But you cannot beat an overwhelmingly large enemy like Romberg without numbers.
What's the argument for purchasing better equipment? Aside from the fact that, they'll be better equipped.
The armed forces are behind the Trump's military equipment in comparison to our neighbors. We need a fundamental modernization program.
No matter how many advanced weapons and systems we buy, our enemies can overcome them.
Falcon had a serious tone. That sounds bleak. Quality over quantity always. A smaller, well-equipped force can destroy a much larger one.
Sir, I will be frank. Romberg fields 3 times our force. A modernization program won't mitigate our difference.
The era of large assaults and human wave tactics is over. We are heading to an era of modern combat which requires modern tools to adapt.
I have settled on a decision. Generals were waiting for the word. I hope the decision's in the interest of all. Alright, purchase better equipment and begin a modernization program.
As you wish, but the decision will be negative for our old doctrine.
Glad we've made the right choice in this. I'll make the necessary arrangements.
Iosef and Vulcan looked at each other. We'll be all for today then. Dismissed. I'd like to extend my thanks for your attendance. The meeting concluded as the sun set over the concrete jungle that was Wholesword. Wait, if the meeting was in Wholesword, then why did we go to Suzerain for it? I don't know. Whatever, unimportant. But that feels like as good a spot as any to call it today. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.